Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Ibrahim Ghazal Hanan, and today I'm gonna do an interview with. The topic of the interview is about the impact of globalization on local culture. The first question: do you think globalization has a positive or negative impact on local culture? Why?
So, well, honestly, I think globalization has both positive and negative impacts on local culture. On the positive side, the globalization helps us learn from one another. We can easily share ideas, share traditions, or even traditional foods through abroad or across the borders, and it also creates cultural understanding and helps us to appreciate the diversity. For example, through globalization, we as Indonesian people can enjoy Korean dramas, Japanese anime, or even Western fashions. And at the same time, other countries or the people around the world on another countries can also learn about our traditional foods, dances, or handicrafts. So it's really amazing because it allows the globalization allows the traditions allows all the tradition of all around the world to grow together. And however, on the negative side, I think globalization can also weaken the local culture if the people stop valuing their own traditions, their own local traditions. They might, especially when the global culture, or let's say Western culture, is what what is that? Like look, especially when local culture becomes so dominant among us, among the people, among the young generation, they might start thinking that their own local traditions are less
Unimportant?
interesting or
Yes,
less
important.
important. They start thinking like that. So they might thinking that their traditions are old-fashioned,
Yes.
and yeah, it becomes less interesting for them. So I would say globalization isn't bad or good entirely. It really depends on how we handle it. If we can balance between preserving our local culture and enjoying or learning from one another through globalization, I think it can be so powerful and amazing.
Wow. So the next question: can you give an example how globalization has changed cultural traditions in Indonesia?
Okay. One clear example is how young people celebrate certain occasions, I think. In the past, many Indonesians used to hold traditional events like syukuran, selamatan, or gotong royong maybe. And those events are done in the simple way, community-based and simple ways. But now, because of globalization, people often adapt Western styles. For instance, birthday parties or weddings are now influenced by global trends. Like we see more Western styles dresses or modern decorations, or even music playlists that come from international artists instead of our local music, right? Our traditional music. So I think that's one. And then another example is food culture. In the past, many Indonesian people loved eating Indonesian traditional snacks such as klepon or lupis.
Yes.
But now, because of globalization, many young generation are prefer
Wow.
fast food,
Burger, kebab, yes.
burger and others, and also they prefer the coffee,
The,
right? The
Mm.
coffee culture.
Yes.
Like we have to drink a coffee every day,
Right.
even if it's not healthy enough.
Yes.
So, and also globalization also affects the way we dress.
Mm.
Like in the past,
Uh,
we used to love wearing our traditional clothes like batik or songket maybe, but now people prefer wearing the another brand fashions from another city or another countries like Western fashions.
Yes.
Yep, they prefer wearing those kind of clothes instead of wearing batik. We usually wearing batik now in just a formal
Way.
during formal
Oh.
ceremonies or
Yeah.
formal events,
Mm,
right? Yep.
So, the third question: how do global trends affect the way um, young people express their identity today?
Okay, that's an interesting question. Global trends have a huge influence on how young people express themselves. For example, through their fashions, social media, and pop culture, they play a big role in shaping identity today. Many young people follow global trends like Korean fashion, Western pop music, or even viral dances on TikTok, maybe. Many young people usually follow those kind of trends, right? And these things become part of how we express how young generation express themselves, right? How they express who they are. And through globalization, we can access all these influences instantly. We can access all of those influences very instantly, and it's easier for young generation, for young people to explore and combine different styles, of course. And also, there's an interesting part of this. Many young people today are not just copying the global trends.
Oh yeah, global trends.
They're not just copying the global trends, but they combine it. They such like many of young generation now are mixing the batik or songket in modern styles, fashion, and also many of them are blending traditional music, Indonesian traditional music with pop beats, maybe like today dangdut pop, right? Yeah, and I think that's a creativity, right? It shows that globalization can inspire us to express our identity in some new ways. So global trends definitely affect an identity, but it's up to young generation whether they lose themselves in it or they use the globalization to show the identity through global stage. I think that's
it. So moving on to the fourth question. Do you think young people still care about their traditions? Why or why not?
I think many young people do care about their traditions, but of course in a different way. Like they might not always follow traditional customs strictly like their grandparents did, but they still they still appreciate, they still respect the meaning behind them. And for example, on Independence Day, we still can see many young generation, many young people wearing batik, right? And wearing batik or joining traditional games or promote the local foods online. So some people of young generation even use the social media to share the local traditions, like they make the short videos about traditional music of Indonesia, traditional dances, or they make short videos about folklore maybe, and that's really cool. It's really cool, and however, it's also true that some young people are starting to
Leave.
to lose their interest on local culture because modern lifestyles are so fast paced and it's influenced by global media, right? So since many young people use the technologies now, they can see the modern the modern lifestyles. They see the modern lifestyles more because they always play the technology today. We always use our phones, so it's so easy to see the modern lifestyles more than we can see the traditional one. So they might start thinking that the local traditions or local culture is less interesting, or they might thinking that our local traditions is old-fashioned, so or it's not cool anymore and it's not relevant anymore for these days. And that's why it's really important for schools, families and communities to keep presenting our local culture in modern ways, in the ways that young people can enjoy it. So if the local culture or local traditions are presented in the ways that young people can enjoy, they will start to care about the traditions naturally.
Okay. The last question: how can we preserve local culture while still embracing global influence?
So that's the key challenges of our young generations, I think. I believe we can do both, preserving our local cultures and also enjoy the global influences today. Of course, it's all about balance, right? And first, I think we need to start with awareness. We should be proud of where are we, where we come from. Yeah, because since we are from Indonesia, we should be proud of Indonesian traditions, Indonesian languages, Indonesian foods, Indonesian arts. We have to be proud of all of them. We have to have the awareness that we are from Indonesian, we are Indonesian people, so we have to know our cultures more. So if we have the awareness, that awareness, we can still enjoy the global influences. And the second, we can modernize our traditions. So, for example, musicians can remix Indonesian traditional music with some pop beats,
Yes.
right?
Of course,
Yeah.
for example.
And designers can use batik or songket in modern styles, and also the filmmakers can make video or can present some videos about Indonesian local cultures, about Indonesian folklores, Indonesian's traditional dances. Yep, I think it's the second one. And the third one, of course, we have to use social media for good.
Mm.
We can use the social media to show our local traditions or local culture more to all to all people around the world. So we can use the social media to share our traditions, to share our traditional dances and foods. We can we can use the social media for those kind of things. And finally, education plays a big role, of course. Schools should not teach not only the global knowledge, but
also local
schools
knowledge.
have to also teach us about the local wisdom. They have to teach about the importance of local cultures. I guess
Oh,
that's all.
oh, that was great. Well, I think that's it for interview. Thank you for your time and see you next time. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.